Hello everyone, it's Kevin. Today on episode 20 of Print and Paint, we are doing the T-60 armor from Fallout 4. I'm on my mini factory, the model is from Wafa, so let's print. Okay, so I'm gonna show you quickly how I've done my support here. I start with heavy support at the bottom. I know the feet are gonna be glued to the base, so here I'm just going like quite ham. I just want to make sure it's really supported right off the bat. Then later on I just went on the back and do my details. Make sure I have everything supported. And the legs were pretty easy, so nothing major. The gun was a bit tricky at the back here, but everything is really tiny and it's gonna be glued together with the other part of the arm. So I've made sure I had some good support and everything was fine. On this part, the chest plate, the other arm and helmet, I've done it I think 3 or 4 times, and every time G2 box keep crashing and I record again and again and again, so that's the result after maybe 4 tries. And I went really quick. The more I was doing it, the quicker I went. Here you have the base. I'm adding the bottle caps as well here. I'm just copy pasting every one of them on the side. I'm not sure everything is gonna come out. Okay, so after a lot of printing, let's see what I have and what went wrong. First on the base here, who just finished, I have a couple of lines which didn't print. It's not a big deal, I'm gonna hide it really easily. Everything else was fine. I'm not sure why, it might be when I was slicing. So the small bottle cap that I had on the side here, they're super tiny. Half of them failed, I'm not sure why. And everything that I have left is really like super thin and tiny. I'm not sure if I'm gonna make it with it. But on the other hand, I kept my supports and the diameter is quite nice. I might slice tiny pieces and try to make them have bottle cap instead. The head, there was a lenses really thin and really like tiny. Like the weight was supported on the side here. It was super thin, everything broke, so I decided to take it off. On the chest plate, I have small like handle on the front and the back side of the chest. Those things were super thin as well. Because I've printed the model in 50% scale instead of 100%, a lot of those tiny parts, they're really hard to print. And I mean, they print fine, but later on when I just grabbed the model, I kind of pushed around and I broke them. So I decided to take them off. I've put the arm and the gun together. As you can see, everything clipped on the chest. I still have some gap to fill with resin. I started with milliput for the big part, the big gap, and now I'm gonna finish with resin. The legs were fine, nothing major. The feet between all the pieces were fine. The gun was a bit tricky, but everything else was pretty good. I'm gonna keep everything separate for right now. The reason being, if I clip the chest on the legs, then I can't access some part of the legs and behind the gun. So that's 4 pieces total and that's fine, let's go. Okay, so here after black priming and zenithal highlight, I decide to start with a cold gray, which is quite bluish as you can see. The goal is I want my steel to be a bit closer of some of the artwork that I can see online, but I don't want just everything to be gray and black and white. So that's why right off the bat I go with the color. Then I diluted some metallic paint and I'm doing another coat over to still have the metallic look of it. And I'm trying to tone down everything with black wash. I went probably 2 times with the wash, I don't remember exactly, but you really want to darken everything as much as possible after. And the end result is really nice. Like that's the part I'm the most happy with, is the color tone that I got after this was really nice. Here I'm doing some recesses with the brush and black paint, trying to improve some detail and some shadow. Nothing major and crazy, but just some part of it. And then I've mixed with some brown and oranges and try to do some rust, so that's part of the razoring process of the armor. I go in the recess, then I'm dripping down a bit. You kind of want the idea of the water going inside those recesses and then rusting a bit down and everything. I'm trying to not go overboard with it as well. After this I used a brighter orange. I still not went quite full orange, but I went brighter with compared to the base coat that I had, and I'm highlighting those rust, the part where I had rusted first. And I think the effect is quite decent. Like, I'm happy for the first time that I was trying this kind of effect. I think it was fine, even with only 2 different type of coat of paint. And right at the end I went back with some really bright metallic paint that I have, and some kind of silver, and highlighted some edge highlight of the armor, or some part of the corrosing, like the rust that I put it first, then I used this silver on top. After a while I was happy with the weathering, but some small part I wanted to add some touches, so I added scratches with black and white paint, really easy. I just went with 1 strike of black, 1 strike of white under to simulate some shadows and highlight. And it was great for some part, like here on the calf, like there was no detail in terms of armor, so adding this by hand was nice for the eyes. And right now I'm on the gun, so I start with this khaki part of the gun. And I decided to do this coil in copper. I think in some artwork everything is almost normal metallic paint, but I thought, okay, let's add some more color, like the figure really need more color, so adding copper I think was fine and really believable. I'm doing some of those yellow stripe on the, I'm not sure what it is, it's some kind of energy part of this weapon. I know they are like the laser stuff from the game. So it's 1 stripe on one side and 2 stripes on the other side, and then there is some small arrows here on this side as well, but it was really hard and tricky to paint, so I went with just some small, like kind of dot, small strike. And after it, a couple of coat of wash as well. The metallic paint that I used first was really dark, but I decided to darken it even more. The goal was to add some weathering part and to try to have a differentiation between the gun and the armor. Here going quickly on the base, after base coating brown, putting some sand, rebase coating the sand with brown. I used some washes, darker washes, some dry brushing, and nothing crazy. I decided to do the eyes red. Usually it's more from other part of Fallout, like there is some other helmet who have this orange, this red part. But like I said before, I think the figure really need colors, so there was some artwork with those red eyes, so I decided, okay, I really need that. I went with the magenta, I used a little bit of wash here to add some shadow and find some recesses. And then I went over with my base coat first, and I brightened my red just slowly from the top, from bottom to top. And here at the end I'm just adding a bit of highlight, some reflection on the lens. Last part on the head, the lamp. I went back and forth quite a bit here with a white and black stroke to try to have some kind of like this kind of glass effect, like not glass, smooth glass, but the glass with the stripes. And here I'm going glass again, the bottle, the Nuka-Cola bottle. It was tricky, like I looked online, I tried to copy an artwork, but getting a glass effect on this thing for me, like that's out of my league big time. I just tried to follow one artwork that I find, and I was like, okay, let's see what happens if I try this. The result is not terrible, I mean, it's okay, I'm fine with it. Here I'm adding the caps on top. And here we have it, the T-60 armor from Fallout 4. I really like this one, like the model is really nice. Fallout itself has a really great artwork and like atmosphere and everything, so It was nice. I spent quite a lot more time than I was expecting. When you only have like one color, you're like, okay, it's only metal, it should be fine. But adding the detail, trying to fine tune the colors, it was a bit tricky and nice to learn as well. The base was quite some work. I had to mess around a little bit, so it was nice. I'm happy the way everything came out together, and I think that's great. So that's a nice result for now. You can always do better, I can always improve, but I've learned a lot and I will do better next time. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, a comment, anything, and subscribe, and see you next week.